going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's talk some MLB scores from last night. We're talking with scores a little more often now. That can kind of go hand in hand with the wildcard stands. Like, oh, this team beat this team, so they're this much closer, this much further from the playoffs or the division or whatnot. So Mariners beat the Reds 5-4. That's a pretty big game because those two teams are neck and neck in the wildcard race. So Miami beats the Reds 5-4. Brown De La Cruz go ahead home run in the ninth inning in that one. Off of the Cincinnati closer, Alexis Diaz and David Robinson, who Miami got from the Mets in a trade. Their closer comes in and shuts the door in the bottom half of the inning. Brewers beat the Rockies 7-6 in 10 innings. Brewers trying to hold off the Cubs and the Reds in the National League Central, up a couple of games on those two teams. They were down 4-0 at one point. They tied it a couple of times and then gave up, I think, a run in the top of the 10th, but then got two in the bottom half on an error, I think. I believe they scored on an error also. Justin Lawrence gave it up for Colorado. Oakland beats Texas 2-0, so Texas 8-game win streak snapped. And Texas almost swept them, but they didn't quite. So Oakland avoids the sweep. Detroit beats Minnesota Twins 9-5. St. Louis Cardinals over Tampa Bay Rays 6-4. Two-run single for Goldschmidt now and gives him over 1,100 career RBIs. So kudos to him. Such a great player on the league's best first baseman. You got the Phillies beat the Nationals 7-0, but the more significant thing was a no-hitter. Michael Lorenzo goes a no-hitter, the 14th in the history of the Philadelphia Phillies. In his first start as a Philly, last week on the Tigers of the trade line, he went 8 innings, gave just 2 runs, and then in his second start as a Philly, a no-hitter. Incredible start to his Phillies career. He's had a real good year between Detroit and Philadelphia. Was an all-star. Probably didn't deserve to be an all-star. I think he had the ERA over 4 going into the all-star break. But because of MLB's rule where every team needs to have at least one all-star, it's stupid. He was the representative for the Detroit Tigers. But he overall has had a really good year. Since the all-star break, has pitched really well. Off the great start, the Phillies, he no-hits the Washington Nationals. Throws 124 pitches. He had actually beat the Orioles 8-2. All I'm saying is the Orioles are 0-2 since they suspended their announcer Kevin Brandt for no apparent reason. Hopefully that doesn't curse them the rest of the year. But Houston wins 8-2. Braves over the Pirates 6-5. Braves haven't been quite as dominant since the All-Star break. They're only, I think, 12-11 since the All-Star break. Meaning that obviously they are still hugely ahead in the National League East. Still by a monstrous lead. And they're still they still got a pretty good lead all the Dodgers for the best record in the league. So, which is big because now that gives you home field advantage through the entire playoff. The best record in the National League is home field advantage until, throughout the first 3 rounds. And if it's an entire league, they have home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. Mets beat the Cubs 4-3. So Mets took 2-3 from the Cubs. Phil Bickford came in for the save last night after, for that reason, Berkeley wasn't available. It shouldn't make sense because he hadn't pitched the day before. And Adam Ottavino came in, gave up a home run, a hard single, a balk on it because he threw over the first base 3 times in one at bat. It's a new rule this year, and a walk. And when he took him out, he was pissed off. He was pissed about it. He looked awful. And now Gary Cohn said going into that game, when he's pitched on back-to-back days, he has the area over 7. So, versus on back-to-back days this year, Ottavino has not been great. Red Sox beat the Royals 4-3. But trying to stay on track. Prior to this game, they had lost 8 of 10. Just got Trevor Story back. Your middle infielder, gave him a lot of money last year. And he's been out pretty much, I believe, all season. He had major surgery on his elbow before the season started. And Chris Sale, your starter, he's been out for a while, as he always is. Apparently, he's around the corner coming. He's right around the corner. So, Red Sox hanging in there in the wild card race. Toronto beats Cleveland 1-0. 7 scoreless innings from Kevin Gausman. You had White Sox over the Yankees 9-2. Yankees, Severino was supposed to start. They didn't open with Ian Hamilton when they were relievers. Pitched the first inning. Then they put Severino in the second inning. Didn't help. So they gave up 4 runs on 5 hits in 2 innings plus. And he's taken out. White Sox win 9-2. Severino has an ERA of 8.06 this year. To me, they need to stop running him out there. He's not good. He was one when he first came up. He was such a great young starting pitcher, a chance to be a stud for a long time. Had so many injuries. His arm clearly doesn't have anything left in it. Maybe you want to try moving him to the bullpen, opposed to going, being expected to give you 6 or 7 innings. He go out there and give you 1 or 2 innings. He can throw as hard as he wants. Like every pitch is just leaking over the plate, or it's 3 feet off the plate. Like he's not even competitive. I think he's the worst starting pitcher in the league right now. He's got the highest ERA of any starting pitcher in the league. He's just been awful. And the Yankees are a little light on options. Carlos Rodon is now back on the IL. Obviously, Domingo Germán, I don't think will pitch again this year. He's got some off the field issues he's dealing with. Frankie Montas is not throwing a pitch this year. Doubt he will. And Nestor Cortez just came back. He missed over a month with an arm injury. He just came back, only went 4 innings in his first start. So the next couple of starts, he may not be full go. So you may need to have somebody behind him that can give you a couple of innings. But to me, like anybody is better than Luis Severino. But they got this young kid, Vasquez. I'd have make him a full-time star. I know, like right now, they're kind of using him as I might use him as like a. You might see him when Cortez pitches, like give you 2 or 3 innings behind him. If Cortez can't give you a lot of innings, but to me, they cannot keep running Severino out there. They are but fading fast in the wild card race. The division's already out of reach, and it's getting bad. Severino, like he doesn't even give him a chance. Like you look at a guy like Nestor Cortez before he got hurt was not pitching well, but like they had a shot. Well, a 5.15 ERA isn't good. Through June, at least he gave him a shot. But like, even this kid Vasquez isn't that good. Like he'll at the very least he'll give them a shot. He'll give them a shot. He cannot possibly be worse. It's not physically possible. So move him to the bullpen. Maybe send him to AAA. Have him fix whatever was wrong. Maybe in September when you get the 2 extra roster spots, call him back up as where that's to help. Maybe you can have him if Vasquez, the rookie who takes over for him, it doesn't pitch well, or Cortez doesn't pitch well coming off the injury, or maybe at that point Rodon's coming back. You want to ease him in, have him be like a bulk guy or something like that. So he comes in like the second or third inning, but he needs to give but he goes out and pitches 5 innings. But like it's not working. Or maybe you just DFA him altogether. I mean, he's not good. He's a free agent of the year. I don't think he's going to be on the team next year. I'd be shocked if he was. I'd be very surprised, actually. So, but he cannot be a full-time starter anymore. He just can't. Whereas he's a starter as the bulk comes in the second inning and they want and attempts to get him through 4 innings. No, not going to work. Angels beat the San Francisco Giants 4-1. Ohtani now has 10 wins as a pitcher and 40 home runs as a hitter. And by the way, he's got a chance at the hitting Triple Crown. He might win Triple Crown as a hitter and have a ERA. His ERA right now is 3.17. This is one of the best years ever. Like it's crazy what he's doing this year. The American League MVP race was over maybe 2 months ago. I know Judge, before he got hurt on June 3rd, he was right there as well. His numbers, if you compare his numbers through May last year, where he had the incredible year, and this year they're very, very similar. But once he got hurt, within 2 weeks after he got hurt, Ohtani locked down the award. Oh, I'm sorry, he's amazing. Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks 2-0. Arizona was 8 in a row. They're now a game under 500. At one point, they were 16 games over 500. Now they're a game under 500. They're in first place until right before the All-Star break. Now they're 11 games. I think 11 games out of first, and they're fading fast. Mariners beat the Padres 6-1. So I sweep Seattle. Seattle's playing good baseball. One so select the game that I think Padres gave up. There's definitely a lot of clubhouse issues going on right now. A lot of finger pointing, a lot of guys being thrown under the bus. You see what Settle said there. Something's wrong in San Diego. They've been overall extremely mediocre. I know they've played a little bit better. I think there are 3 or 4 games over 500 since July 20th, and that's when they were 8 games under 500, which is the season's worst. Also, now they're struggling. They're back to 5 games under 500. Overall, they've been very mediocre. A team that I picked to win the World Series the other, my World Series pick. Regardless, you cannot deny the heading into the year they were a World Series contender, and they are right now 5 games under 500 on August 10th. Looking at the division standings, Baltimore leads Tampa by 2 games. Right now, Toronto's hanging in. Toronto's 6 back in the division. You never know. The Boston and the Yankees round out that division, which is obviously very, very good. Northwest Central, Minnesota leads Cleveland by 4.5 games. They have Detroit, who's 8 back, and then the White Sox and the Royals rounded out. American League West, Texas division, we stepped up to 2 games over Houston, with Houston winning and Texas losing last night. Then you got Seattle, 5.5 out of the division. They've won 7 in a row and 9 of the last 10. 5.5 out of the division, not too far back. And the Angels and the god-awful Oakland A's round out that division. Oakland is 49 games under 500. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know it was possible. They were 50 games under 500 heading into their game last night against Texas, but they won. So they're 49 games under 500. Hallelujah. National League East, Braves, like I said, have slowed down a bit since the All-Star break. I think they're only a game over 500 in 23 games or something. They're like 12 and 11 since the All-Star break, but still feel like 10.5 games in that division, and they're like 5 or so games ahead of the Dodgers for having the best record in National League. And also right now, best record in baseball, they're like a game ahead or 2 ahead of Baltimore for the best record in all baseball, and they're like 5 games ahead of the Dodgers for the best record in National League, which of course would give you home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So they're still in a great spot. You got National League Central. Milwaukee leads the Cubs and the Reds by 2.5 games right now. That division is very, very fun. The Cubs are to me a fun team. You got like Cody Bellinger, who since winning MVP has fallen off a cliff. Now he's been able to rebound this year, hitting over 300. A lot of young players there. You have a lot of guys who are having a really good year. I think Justin Steele's the second best ERA in the National League. I barely had heard of him until this year. You have Edward Asway, more top pitching prospect, has become a good closer. Julian Merriweather found himself 3 years ago. It's been good in that bullpen. They're a fun little team. They're red hot right now. The Reds are a lot of fun to watch. A lot of young players. A lot of top prospects have come up and play well. And the Brewers are, I think, are a pretty fun team. They're a solid squad. The Brewers are always, don't spend a ton of money, so it takes a full squad to get it done. And overall, had a pretty good year. 62 and 54 in first place. National League West, Dodgers are in first at 67 and 46. Giants are 6 games out, and Arizona, San Diego, and Colorado run out that division in the wild card. In the American League, Tampa remains the first wild card. They're 4 games up. For the first wild card, you got Houston is the second spot right now. They are 2.5 behind Tampa for the first spot. They're a game that ahead of Toronto for the second spot. Toronto's the last team in right now. They're a game and a half out of the second spot and 4 games out of the first wild card spot. And Seattle's been rolling, is 2 games out of the wild card right now. Boston's 5 games out. The Yankees are 5.5 out. Then the Angels continue to fade. Won the last 2, but still have lost their previous 7 before that. So they are 7 games out. Cleveland, and then Detroit, the White Sox, Kansas City, and the Oakland Athletics. In the National League wild card race, Philadelphia is the first wild card right now. They're a game ahead of San Francisco for the first wild card. San Francisco is the second spot. Miami has moved back into playoff position. It was the first wild card, I believe, heading into the All-Star break, but have struggled since the All-Star break. I think they're going 9 games under 500 over their last 65 games, something like that. I think they're 28 and 37 in the last however many games that is, 65 game or something like that. But they're now a half game ahead of the Cubs in Cincinnati. He's 2.5 games out of the second spot, 3.5 games out of the first wild card spot. And then Cubs and Cincinnati are both a half game out of the last spot. Arizona, who's lost 8 in a row, they're still hanging in there at 2.5 out, and San Diego's 4.5 out. But they're meant at 7 games out. It's funny how the Angels brought in 5 guys at the deadline. They have Shohei Ohtani. Mets suck. go to the roster, and they're both the same amount of games out of plasma. It's kind of funny. Then the Pittsburgh Pirates, St. Louis Cardinals, Washington Nationals, and the Colorado Rockies round out the National League. The only other things I got, not too much else. Dallas Mavericks signed Derrick Jones Jr. to a 1-year deal, fully guaranteed deal. Last year, played 64 games for the Chicago Bulls. He averaged 14 minutes a game, averaged 5 points a game, 50% from the field, 33 from 30, 73%, almost 74 from the line. So he's he's just there for depth. So he got to protect against the injury from Kyrie Irving, or Kyrie just doing something really stupid that he has to miss games with. But yeah, Derrick Jones is now in Dallas. The Warriors hired Nick Kerr as the head coach of the Santa Cruz Warriors, which is the Warriors G League team. He is the son of Steve Kerr, of course, the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. So he worked in the video room for the San Antonio Spurs in 2018. He then joined the Warriors video room from 2019 to 2021, and the last 2 seasons he was an assistant coach on the Warriors G League team, and he just got promoted to the head coach of the G League team. So I don't know, could he be Steve Kerr's successor down the line, or could he maybe head coach up somewhere else? Maybe in a couple of years he gets an assistant job in the NBA. Continues to work his way up. Who knows? You got, besides that, you got so Kareem Hunt left the Colts without a deal. They couldn't come to terms on the contract, so he got into the free agents. We went from he just signed the Saints to no. Colts are bringing it. He didn't sign. The Saints didn't sign Anthony Barr either. They couldn't report that his deal got done was also false. He had a visit, but didn't quite agree to a contract like we thought he did. Hunt went and visited the Colts, thinking he's going to sign there, but he left there without a deal. So after all that, Hunt is still a free agent. Running back market continues to suffer. Speaking of running backs, Marlon Mack is out for a torn Achilles. Former Colts back who is kind of fallen off the face of the earth for the last few years. They brought him in not too long ago for some depth at the running back position. He tore his Achilles in training camp. He's out for the year. And Ray McLeod is also out for the season. He's out 2 months, 8 weeks for broken wrist. He's doesn't do much in terms of receiving game. He's probably only maybe their 4th or 5th receiver. Last year had only 14 catches, 2 to 4 yards, and 1 touchdown. But he's their kick returner. He at last year averaged 23 yards per kick return and 10 almost 11 yards per punt return. So he's a good returner, and you won't have him for 2 months, so that means he'll be back around early to mid-October, so he's probably out the first month or so of the season. Probably misses the first 4 or 5 games. That's really all I got for you guys today. Yeah, obviously, I'm sure all of you are playing your fantasy football drafts. I am too. I did a dynasty league. I drafted my team. We had a draft last week. It's with me and all my college roommates. You know a few of them. Justin. Him and I host Jake and Justin in the morning. He's been on my show. Ashton's in my league as well, who you've seen come on my show countless times. And then I got another one where it's just the rookie draft. We already have the team set. That one's coming up, and I'm sure I'll be in other leagues as well. So I would like to do some sort of fantasy football show soon. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it. I'm shooting for next week. So tomorrow, I'll do a show tomorrow. Most likely. It's possible I won't, but I probably will. And it'll be just a regular show, as I always do. And then the weekend, of course, I don't do shows on the weekends. I'm not going to do shows on the weekend. I was only doing that because I had the job I was doing, so could only do it on the weekends then. So next time after tomorrow, or where it's today or tomorrow, will be Monday the next time you see me. And could be Monday, but I'm not sure. But expect some sort of fantasy football show some point next week. I will make that announcement to have anything clarified sometime either Friday or Monday. Probably I'll give you updates on both days probably. But that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.